Hey guys, thank you for renting with Westland Campers. My name is Sergio and I'll be doing your guys' walkthrough. I'm going to show you everything you need to know on how to operate this RV. The first thing we're going to start with is going to be your water hookup. If you're going to a campsite that has city water, what you'll do is you'll take this water hose in this compartment. You're going to pull it up and hook it up to the water supply at the campsite. You're going to take the other end and you're going to connect it to this inlet right here. Once you have that hooked up, what you're going to do is you're going to switch this valve to dry camping and city fixtures. That'll get you running water the whole time you're there at the site. Now if you're dry camping, that means you're going to be using the water from the water tank. The tank will be full when you pick it up. You're more than welcome to use it all. You do not need to bring it back full. In order to use the water from the tank, make sure your valve is pointing up to dry camping and your water pump is on. If at any point you want to refill the tank in the RV, then just point the valve back to tank fill, let the water run in there, and then when you're done, just point it back up to dry camping. You are responsible for dumping the black and the gray tank before returning it to us. The sewage outlet is down here. This one's the black tank. This one's the gray tank. First thing you're gonna do is you're gonna come over to the compartment under the slide, pull out your sewage hose. You're gonna bring your sewage hose over to the first outlet. You're gonna connect it, take the other end, stick it in a hole in the ground. Once you're all set up, you're gonna pull the black valve, let everything drain out. Once you're done, you're gonna take the hose, hook it up to the next outlet. That's the gray water. It's a little bit easier if you open this compartment right here. Same thing, you're gonna hook it up, take the other end, stick it in a hole in the ground, and then you're gonna pull the valve. Once you're done, if you're no longer gonna use the tanks, then you're gonna leave those valves open so that we know you empty the RV. If you bring it back to us and those valves are closed, then what we'll do is we'll assume the tanks are full and we'll charge you a $45 dumping fee. The next thing you're going to want to do when you get to the campsite is plug in your power cord. You'll find the cord in the same compartment that you found your sewage hose in. You're going to pull the cord out. It's a 30 amp connection, so make sure you have a 30 amp hookup. Now if you end up with the 50, you can still use it, but you'll need an adapter, 30 to a 50. Now most campsites are standard 30, so you should probably be okay. Once you're hooked up, you'll be able to run the central AC unit, the power outlets, the TV, and the microwave off of the campsite's power. You will no longer need to use the generator. If you're not hooked up to campsite power, then you're going to be dry camping. That means you'll be relying on your generator to run those things and charge the batteries in your RV. Another item you're responsible for is the propane tank. When you pick up the RV, it'll be at least at 3/4 or full. We'll check the exact level on the gauge on the inside. Please return it back at the same level you picked it up. If you do not, we will charge you $1 more per gallon than the gas station does. This RV runs on diesel, regular diesel number 2. Please avoid biodiesel, any other type of renewable diesel. It's only going to be a diesel number 2. For sure, no ethanol fuel, no gas. Please be very careful with that. We had someone put in the wrong type of fuel and it messed up the engine. So remember, diesel number 2 only. I'm going to go ahead and walk you through the interior of the RV. Watch out for the steps. They're automatic. It'll come out when you open and close the door. When you get to your RV, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to turn on the battery disconnect switch. That's located right here to the left of the main entry steps. You're going to hit use. Everything inside of the RV is going to turn on. This battery disconnect switch is going to stay on the whole trip. If at any point you lose power, first thing you want to check is that someone didn't accidentally turn it off. It controls your 12-volt batteries in the RV. Below that, we have the control for the awning. You hit extend, the awning goes out. Now if it's windy or if it's raining, please bring it in. Always bring it in at night, and make sure you triple check before you drive away that the awning is in. You do not want to drive it into somebody else's RV. Before you bring in the awning, you're going to want to make sure the door is out of the way so it doesn't get caught on the arm when it's coming back in. Retract, and the awning will come back in. Now if the keys are in the ignition, the awning will not go in or out. It'll lock itself into place. To the right of the entry steps is going to be the control panel. From here, you can turn on or off the automatic steps. So when you get to your campsite, you're going to turn them off so they're not going in and out every time you open and close the door. Whenever you're traveling, you're going to leave them on. Patio light, ceiling lights. Control for the slide. You have one slide in the RV. It's the couch and the fridge. If you hit retract, the slide will come in, slide, it'll go out. Now make sure no one is sitting down on the couch before you bring it in or out. Make sure you have enough room on the outside to pull out the slide. And also, if the keys are in the ignition, it'll also lock the slide into place just like the awning. If you need water in the shower, sink, flush in the toilet, and you're dry camping, then you're going to turn on your water pump. If you're not using the water pump, make sure you turn it off so it's not draining the batteries. Now, if you're hooked up to city water, you do not need to have the water pump on. You can leave this off. Top right corner of the control panel will be your levels. So LPG, like I said, the tank will be at least 3/4 or full when you pick it up. Please bring it back at the same level. Battery level. If you're dry camping, you're going to keep an eye on your battery level. Make sure it doesn't get too low. If it starts to get low, 1/3 empty, you're going to turn on the generator to recharge your batteries. You're going to let it run for at least 1 hour to get you a full charge. Batteries on average should last you about 4 to 6 hours depending on how much you're using inside. Now if you're hooked up to power at the campsite, then you do not need to worry about your batteries. The batteries will be getting charged when you're hooked up. Freshwater level, the tank will be full when you pick it up. Black and gray. Black is the toilet waste, gray is the shower and the sink waste. Gray is empty, black's empty. Now just a heads up on these sensors, when you do dump the tanks yourself and you come back in here, if you click on the black or the gray, if it's still showing something on it, don't worry too much about it. Sometimes things get stuck on the sensors and it'll give you a false reading. As long as you return it with those valves open, we'll know you emptied the tanks. On the control panel, you'll also find the start-stop switch for the generator. To the left of that is your generator time. When you pick up your RV, this is where you'll collect the hours to note down on your forms. When you drop off the RV, if you're returning on the weekend and we're not here, this is where you'll find your generator time to note down on the forms or to text over to us. Now, if you're dry camping, remember you're going to be relying on your generator for the following: TV, power outlets, microwave, central AC unit. Do not run the central AC unit and the microwave at the same time. What happens is you'll overload the generator and it'll shut off, or you'll trip the breaker. Always make sure you turn off the AC unit before running the generator if you're running off of the generator. Now, if you're hooked up at a campsite, then you do not need the generator. Okay, you'll be using the campsite's power to use everything in here. Or if you're driving down the street and you want to use the AC back here, you'll need to turn on your generator. Now to turn it on, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to hold stop for about 2 to 3 seconds. Usually till the red light comes on. And then hit start. There's your generator time. Now you're going to give it about 30 seconds to 1 minute for the power to kick in. Usually you'll know you have power when the microwave comes on. Once your microwave has turned on, you can start using your appliances. There you go. For the AC unit, the thermostat It's right here. You're gonna hit mode. You're gonna set the fan to high. Mode again. Set your temperature to about 70 degrees. And set to cool. Now do not go lower than 70. What happens is you're gonna freeze the coils in the AC unit. If that happens, it's not a big deal. You're just gonna need to wait a few hours for it to thaw out. So always keep it 68, 69, 70 and above. If you need to use the furnace, then you're gonna set the fan back to auto, and instead of stopping on cool, you're gonna keep going till it says furnace down here. Furnace, if you set it to 68, 69, it'll keep the RV nice and warm, and it'll shut on and off as needed. If you wanna shut it off, then you just cycle through the mode button until it shuts off. For the TV, you will find the remote and Blu-ray player, DVD player in the cabinet above the sink. Just remember, for the TV, you need to have your generator on, or you need to be hooked up to the campsite's power. Now, I always recommend people to bring either some DVDs or a tablet, laptop that has an HDMI hookup. You can hook it up to your TV and stream movies. These things do not get very good signal on the road, so odds are you're probably not going to be able to pick up any channels when you're driving. To shut off the generator, all you need to do is hit stop. That'll power it down. The generator runs on the propane in the RV, so if you're out of propane, your generator will not work. Remember, for your generator, you get 4 hours per night. Let's say you have it for 3 nights. That's 12 hours of a generator time included in the rental. Anything over that will be $5 an hour. So always try and get a hookup at the campsite if possible, and makes things a lot easier. The refrigerator is automatic. You're gonna set it to auto. You're gonna set it to the coldest setting. This one works on propane and electricity. So if you're dry camping, this thing will be running off propane most of the time. If you turn on your generator or hook up to the campsite's power, then it'll automatically switch over to electricity. Give it about 2 to 3 hours from when you first turn it on to get cold, and then you can start loading it up. Very important for the fridge, make sure you do not park the RV on a hill. If this thing is leaning too far back, too far forward, what happens is it shuts off, and it takes about 6 to 8 hours to restart, and it can damage some of the components inside. If you're a little bit off level, it's okay, but you just can't be on a really steep hill. For sleeping space, you have the bunk bed above the cab. You can always move this out of the way so you don't bump your head here when you're going in and out. You have the couch that turns into a bed. All you need to do is you're gonna pull this up and out, extend the legs. You're gonna come back here and bring the backrest down to complete the bed. And then you have the main bed here. There's a yellow lever in here, and there's another one on the other side. You need to push them both at the same time in order to release the bed. Once you release it, the bed will come out and meet itself right here. Then you can start filling in with the cushions. For the sink, if you're dry camping, just make sure your water pump is on. Same goes for the shower. If you're hooked up to city water, then water pump can be off. Water heater, you're gonna turn on, you're gonna set your temperature, and whenever you turn on the hot water, this thing will automatically start heating up. See that little flame there? That means it's going up to temperature. When you're done using it, just turn it off. It's an instant hot water heater, so you don't need to wait for it to heat up. For the toilet, before using the toilet, you need to make sure that you fill it up with water by pressing down on the pedal, just a little bit. You're gonna push it down. Water's gonna come out, fill up the bowl till about halfway, then it's ready to use. Once you're done, flush it down. You'll also find RV safe toilet paper and chemicals in the RV. If it starts to get smelly, just toss down these chemicals on the toilet. Keep it smelling nice and fresh. breaker box is right here below the bed. I just want you to know where it's at, just in case if anything trips. So let's say you're hooked up at the campsite and you already made sure the breaker at the campsite's on. Your AC doesn't want to work, just come over here, make sure none of the breakers tripped. And to bring the slide in, all you need to do is hit retract. And the slide will come in. For the dash area, this is where you'll find your fuel level. It's down here, so it'll be full when you pick it up. Your miles, you get 100 miles per night. Let's say you have it for 3 nights, that's 300 miles for the trip. Anything over that will be 35 cents a mile. Windshield wipers, headlights, parking brake, and it does have a backup camera. Whenever you throw it in reverse, it'll automatically switch over to the backup camera. Dash AC. Now this is separate from the AC in the back. You can run this one while driving. You do not need to have the generator on for this.